What's up, guys? It's Chris. You know, I just finished shooting this video. I said I wasn't going to do a long video for this WEC Strikeforce upcoming cards, and I was going to keep it brief. I ended up going over 15 minutes, which is over the limit for the video length. So I don't know how to edit because I'm too lazy to look into it. But so now I have to redo it. I'm really going to do a short version this time, in all honesty, because I plan on talking about all these fights tomorrow on the radio show anyway, Science of Violence radio show. My co-host is scheduled to be Jason High, pro MMA fighter, UFC Dream veteran. Plan on him co-host to help break down these cards with me, talk about all the fights and stuff. So hopefully all goes well on that tip. So I'm not going to go in depth in these fights at all. I will do that on the radio show tomorrow, so be sure and check that out. 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 Pacific, 5 Central. I'll put a link in the information bar as always. Science of Violence radio show. Anyways, let's move on to these cards real quick. Got WEC 50 on Wednesday. Just going to do televised portion of the card. First up, you get Scott Jorgensen against Brad Pickett. Pickett's looked pretty good since coming over to WEC from Rage in the Cage, I believe, in the UK. Jorgensen's looked strong lately, getting a revenge win over Antonio Benavidez in his last fight. I'm going to go with Jorgensen. Pickett's tough, but I think Jorgensen's just a stronger fighter. I think he's going to probably get the better of it on the feet. And on the ground, wrestle him down if he wants. Work for these chokes he's been getting lately. He's been successful with, but I think that Jorgensen's just going to get the better of things and put Pickett on his back and outwork him to a decision because Pickett's tough, so I think he will make it the distance. Next up, we got Chad Mendes against Cub Swanson. Chad Mendes fighting out of Uriah Faber's camp, Team Alpha Male, undefeated Cub Swanson. This is a good test for Chad, but I think Chad is the fighter that the WC is looking to elevate, so to speak, in this fight. So I'm going to favor him to win this fight. Thing about Cub, when he loses, at least in WC, it's in pretty devastating or definitive fashion. Think about when he lost to Jose Aldo, he got knocked out in like 10 seconds. When he lost to Jen Pulver, he got choked out in like 30 seconds. So, although Cub's a solid fighter, when he's lost, it's been fairly convincingly. Chad looks good in his last fight, got a submission. Primarily a wrestler. Been working with Uriah Faber and those guys for a while, so he should have his game a little more improved since he started his career. I think he's going to win this fight. I think he's going to use superior wrestling, take Cub down. Couldn't pretty much control him on the ground. Maybe shoot for submissions. I don't know. Cub, as I say, he got caught by Jens Pulver, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt as well. He's also a tough guy for the most part. So I'm going to go with Chad, Money Mendez to win by decision. Anthony Pettis against Shane Roller. Good fight. Clash of styles. Pettis, striker. Roller, the wrestler. Although Roller has showed good submissions skills as of late. Choking out Anthony Angel Kwani his last fight. I'm going to favor Roller based on that fight. Anthony Angel Kwani is a fighter. Anthony Pettis, very similar in styles. Those guys, more so kickboxers. Don't have the best ground game. I don't know where Pettis' ground game is in comparison to Angel Kwani's, but it's not all that good just yet, I don't think. Shane's a much better wrestler. I just think he's not going to want to play around on the feet too much because Pettis does have the ability to knock him or almost anyone out. But I think Roller is going to take Pettis down and either win by decision or catch him in a guillotine choke or rear naked choke, much like he did in the Angel Kwani fight. Either way, I got to go with Shane Roller to win this fight. Next up, main event, got Dominick Cruz defending his WEC bantamweight title against Joseph Benavidez in a rematch. These guys fought a year ago. Cruz won by decision. Pretty clear cut. Not that he kicked Benavidez's ass or anything, but he won pretty. It was easy enough to score. Dominick's coming off that win over Brian Bowles where he won the title. Looked good in that fight. Bowles ended up quitting, I think, after the second round because he had a broken hand. But even leading up to that, Cruz was getting the better of the fight. As for Benavidez, he's coming off probably the biggest win of his career, submitting Miguel Torres. Won the first round against Torres, took him down, was controlling him second round, busted him up with a big, nasty elbow, and submitted Miguel by guillotine choke shortly after, something I really didn't expect, I was really surprised by that fight. Dominick, he also trains with Team Alpha Male, Uriah Faber's camp, with Uriah and Chad Mendes and Danny Castillo, amongst others. The thing is, Cruz has only lost one fight, and that was to Uriah Faber, so you'd think that would be to Benavidez's advantage. However, it didn't seem to fare too well for him in the first fight. He didn't have too much success in that first fight. The big difference between this fight and the first fight, except for the titles on the line, is that it's a 5-round fight. So if it goes later in the fight, it'll be interesting to see who has the better cardio, or who just fares better. But I don't know, man. The thing I'm worried about Benavidez, aside from the fact that he's a much smaller guy and he didn't have too much success, he actually got out-wrestled in the first fight, which should be his biggest strength in this matchup, is his superior wrestling. But it wasn't in the first fight. Cruz is, I think, much better on the feet. He's a taller guy, longer, very unorthodox style, but very successful for himself. It works great for him, as you saw in the Bulls fight and in the first fight between him and Benavidez. But think about Benavidez training with Uriah's camp. Trains with a lot of good guys, but I'm worried that maybe they don't have a guy that can emulate Dominick Cruz on the feet, and I don't know how good of a game planning they have, a backup game plan. Say, when Uriah Faber fought Jose Aldo, he got torn apart in that first round and never really switched it up, didn't really have a backup game plan, And so I'm worried about if things don't go Benavidez' way here early, will he have a backup game plan if he's not successful getting the takedowns? So I don't know, but I got to favor Cruz. He just looked really good in the first fight, I don't know how much different this one will be. I think Benavidez will be able to get more takedowns than he did in the first fight, considering this is a 5-round fight. And I would think, like I said, he would want to get it on the ground because just on the feet, although he did look a little bit improved against Miguel Torres, I think Cruz is still the much better fighter standing. And like I said, that height and reach advantage is a killer for Joseph. So I'm going to go Dominick Cruz, but I think it's going to go to a decision. I think it'll be more competitive than the first fight. I think it'll be an exciting fight because, pretty much most WEC fights and events as a whole are pretty damn exciting, Great mixed martial arts. So I'm going to go with Dominick Cruz to win this fight by decision and retain his bantamweight title. Next up, Strikeforce Houston going down next Saturday. Real quick on the undercard, Bobby Lashley against Chad Griggs. Don't know who Griggs is. Lashley's just taking an easy route. It's like when pro wrestlers debut and they fight like the guys they're going to win, the jobbers, as they call them. That's what Lashley's doing in MMA right now. So Lashley by decision, I guess. Daniel Cormier should win by decision over Jason Riley. KJ Noons against George Gurgel. Should be a good fight. Should be exciting. Both guys have fought Connor Hewn recently, beat him. Both fights were really entertaining scraps on the feet. Thing about Gurgel, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but he likes to mostly stand in the feet and trade. Unfortunately, that plays right in KJ Noons' hands. KJ Noons, who has done some professional boxing on the side, although he hasn't had too much success. Definitely the better of the fighter standing here, and Gurgel, even though he has a good ground game, he hasn't really submitted too many guys. Doesn't have the best takedown, so I think this fight's going to remain on the feet. I think it's going to be entertaining as hell, but I'm going to go with KJ Noons by decision. For the Strikeforce vacant middleweight championship that Jake Shields vacated before he moved on to UFC, obviously, Ronaldo Jacare Souza taking on Tim Kennedy. Kennedy looked good in his last fight, submitting Trevor Prangley, and man, quick work. As for Jacare, he's looked good since moving over to Strikeforce. Got a submission over Matt Lindland. Beat Joey Villasenor by decision in his last fight. Actually, in the Villasenor fight, though, I thought that once he got the fight to the ground, he would be able to submit Joey pretty easily. But Joey showed some good submission defense, was able to, make it to a decision, although he did lose the fight. The thing about this fight, matchup-wise, Kennedy's a better wrestler. He's pretty good with subs, but Jacare is much better on the ground. On the feet, neither of these guys' strong points, but Jacare's looked a lot better on the feet as of late. A lot more fluid. He looked really improved when he first started his career. And I think he will be the better fighter standing here. I think he should get the better of it as long as it remains there. And then when he hits the ground, it goes without saying that I think he's going to have the advantage. Kennedy is a good wrestler. Obviously, he showed that he has some pretty good submissions. I'm sure he has good submission defense. But, Jacare is just on another level. And I think if that guy's got 5 rounds to submit you, unless he gasses. He did gas in that Villasenor fight late. But unless he gasses hard, man, I just think that Jacare is going to win this fight by submission. I mean, it could happen early, it could happen mid-rounds, it could happen late, but bottom line is I think Jacare is going to win this fight by submission and become the new Strikeforce middleweight champion. On to the main event, Strikeforce light heavyweight champion Mohamed King Mo Lawal defending his title against Rafael Feijão Cavalcante. King Mo coming off the win over Gegard Mousasi, where he won the title, pretty much dominated all 5 rounds, took Mousasi down at will. Mousasi didn't really have a good game off his back, and King Mo got the win in not the most exciting fight. Rafael Feijão Cavalcante coming off a first-round knockout over Antoine Britt. Surprising win, Britt was thought to be the bigger puncher of the two, but maybe he still is. But either way, he got knocked out. Feijão, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, very good in that field. I thought he'd win by sub, I think. But he won by TKO, so that was kind of surprising, by KO. So we know he's got some power on the feet, or at least he did in that fight. As for this fight, if it stays on the feet, or when it's on the feet, I'm kind of curious who's going to get the better of it. You know, neither of these guys, it's not their strong suit on the feet as well either. But King Mo, he watches a lot of tape on YouTube, a lot of boxing, a lot of MMA, a lot of K1. Not saying you can automatically, you know, transfer that into your game, but I think the dynamics of striking and stand-up fighting are something that he may have a better grasp of than most guys that have seen as just pure wrestlers entering the sport. And King Mo is a great wrestler. You know, he's probably one of the top 5 wrestlers in mixed martial arts, world level talent as far as wrestling goes. As for Fei Zhao, like I said, good jiu-jitsu practitioner. Obviously, he does have some skills on the feet, you know, as we saw in his last fight. But I think that King Mo should get the better odds on the feet, although I don't think it's going to be like the most technically sound fight while it's on the feet. I think it could look kind of sloppy. And when it hits the ground, I think King Mo will be the one dictating the fight. I think he'll take Fei Zhao down if he gets in trouble on the feet, or even if not, probably try to work him, put him against the cage where Fei Zhao really can get a lot of space to do too much work, and just look to work the ground and pound and positioning, similar to what he did in the Mousasi fight. Now, obviously, I think Fei Zhao will go for more submissions and have a little bit more success trying to do things from the bottom than Mousasi did. But either way, I think King Mo, I think probably, you know, submission defense is the one thing he should be working on the most leading into this fight. To work with the Nogueira brothers amongst others, so hopefully it shouldn't be a problem. I'm going with King Mo to win this fight by decision. May not be the most exciting fight in all honesty, no disrespect to the fighters involved, but just stylistically it might not be the most exciting fight. Unless it happens primarily on the feet, then it may turn into just a real crazy slugfest. But I think King Mo is going to probably take the majority of this fight to the ground and win it there. So I'm going to go with Muhammad King Mo Lawal to win this fight and retain his Strikeforce light heavyweight title by decision. Alright, that's it for now. Be sure to check out the radio show tomorrow, Science of Violence Radio Show, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 Eastern, 5 Central. I'll put a link in the information part of the video, as always, under the video, as well as a link to my Twitter. Like I said, Jason High scheduled to be a guest. We'll be talking about these fights. If you guys want to call in and talk about any of these fights, which you're looking forward to or anything, feel free to. Click the link. The number is up there. Plus, you know, I'll mention it during the show as well. That's it for now, guys. I don't know. I probably won't be back to talk about these fights afterwards because I'll probably just tune on the radio show next weekend. But until then, let me know which fights you're looking forward to, who you think's going to win certain fights, main events in particular, and, you know, just your overall opinion of what's going on with these events. That's it for now. Until next time, which will probably be UFC 118 predictions, I'm out.